Hello, it's Ben Cooper here again from Literacy Waggle, and today we're looking at progress checks. Progress checks are one of those words that you hear all the time about including in lessons, ensuring that children know what they're doing, know what they're learning, and teachers regularly checking in to find out what the children need to do next in order to push learning forward. These progress checks can sometimes feel a bit like a waste of a time, but actually if you do them properly, they can be really easy to do and can really help you as a teacher understand what the children need to do next and what they can do already, and also allows the children to know that as well. So here are 4 top tips for progress checks. Okay, tip number 1 is the prove it. Prove it allows children at the beginning of the lesson to prove what they can and can't do, and then at the end of a lesson they then prove what they've learned. So open your lesson up with a set of differentiated challenges, really quick, really snappy. Let the children pick which challenge to complete. If they're having a go at it and they're really struggling, you can advise them to drop down one of the challenges to make it a bit easier, or if they find it really easy, push them up to try a different challenge that is a bit more difficult. At the end of a lesson, present them with challenges that are similar. They change slightly, so they're new challenges, but they're of a similar level. The idea is that a child will then understand that at the beginning of a lesson, they found this challenge difficult, but actually this challenge more easy. At the end of a lesson, they might be able to do the challenge that they couldn't do previously, and so they know that they've learned something. So get the children to prove what they can do and can't do at the beginning of a lesson, and then prove what they can now do at the end of a lesson. Okay, tip number 2 is the rate my knowledge. This is similar to the previous one, except you have a number of skills in a list at the beginning of a lesson, and you have boxes for them to rate how confident they are at those skills. Then at the end of the lesson, you get them to rate those skills again. You can give it a 1 to 5, you can give it a faces system, so a smiley face if they're really confident, a bit of a wiggly face if they're unsure, or you can use any symbol you like to show them how well they know that skill. Ask them to at the beginning of a lesson, and ask them to rate themselves again at the end of a lesson. For you as a teacher, it's really useful to see how the children have grown in confidence over that lesson. It's really great in observations to show that children have made progress, and also the children know what they've learned and can be really proud of what they've achieved over that period of time. You can even create a Rate My Knowledge lesson that lasts over a week, so over a period of a week they tick off various objectives and skills, so that by the end of the week, they've got a really good view of what they've learned over those 5 days. It's really powerful for the children and also really useful for you and your assessments. Okay, tip number 3 is the journey tracker. This is a bit different from the previous 2. You map out a journey over a period of lessons or over that lesson of different skills and different steps that the children need to take throughout that lesson in order to progress. So it might be that in a mathematics lesson they learn how to work with 1 and 2 digit numbers from a method, then they look at 2 and 3 digits, and then finish with 4 digits or decimal numbers. And that way they track their journey. So they start off at the first step, they start working with 1 and 2 digit numbers, and then by the end of a lesson they're actually working with decimal numbers. So again, the children get to map out and see the journey that they've been on during that lesson or over that week or over that unit. You can even turn it into a bit of a board game where the children track their progress with a counter over that lesson. And you as a teacher then get to see exactly where each child is working at during that lesson, and then you can actually challenge children to move on to their next step if you feel that they've been working on that step for a bit too long. Therefore, you're ensuring that all children are making loads of progress and learning and being challenged every step of the way during your lesson. Okay, tip number 4 is the confidence scale. This is a scale that you can do visually on a piece of paper, or you can actually have it across the whole classroom of how confident a person is. You can ask them how confident they are in a particular skill or a particular piece of learning or subject at the beginning of a lesson. The child may actually stand near the less confident side of the scale or mark themselves at the bottom of the scale. And then you ask them the same question halfway through the lesson and at the end of a lesson. So the children get to rate themselves of how confident they are for a particular skill. Again, this is really visual for the children to reflect on how well they understand something, but also it's really visual for you. They can even place a marker down each step of the way so you can see how the child has built their confidence over that lesson or over that period of time. It's really visual and really useful for children to understand how much progress they have made. And so those are our progress check tips, 4 simple ideas of how you can get your children to understand a little bit more about what they're learning and what they need to do next, but also really useful resource for you as a teacher to understand what the children have learnt in your lesson and how they feel about what you've taught them. I hope you really like those ideas. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel here in order to gain access to more free PD videos like this. We provide short videos weekly on various teaching and learning topics to give you lots of creative ideas to use in the classroom. I'm Ben Cooper from Literacy Waggle. Have a really good day.